Yes, friends, welcome once again to the class. Let's move on towards our lecture number 7 of Clayden book. And before we move on to this lecture, I want you to have a look at this particular structure. Okay, this is the structure of quinine at which I want to you all guys should look at this particular structure because we are going to talk about quinine. We are going to talk about quinine in this lecture. So as we are going to talk about quinine, I want you to have a look at the structure of quinine. Okay, so this is the structure of quinine. This has been given in Clayton's book. So we will study this particular paragraph. In this lecture, we are going to cover this particular paragraph from here till here. Okay. So what is the meaning of this paragraph? I will teach you right now. Natural products have been long used to cure diseases. Okay. Natural products have been long used to cure diseases. What is the example of natural product that have been used to cure diseases? What is the example? Turmeric. Okay, turmeric. Turmeric is a perfect example. Turmeric is used to treat cough and cold. Okay, for cough and cold, for cough and cold, turmeric is used. Okay, so it is an example of natural product. Okay, to cure disease. So for treating cough and cold, we are using turmeric. What is turmeric? Turmeric means haldi. We call it haldi in Hindi. Turmeric means haldi. Okay, meaning of turmeric is haldi. In Hindi we call it haldi. Okay, so natural products like turmeric have been used to cure diseases. Okay, and for since a very long time they are being used. Okay, natural products have long been used to cure diseases. Even before the dawn of science, even before the evolution of science, even at that time when very limited knowledge was available with respect to science, even during those days, natural products were used to cure the diseases. And in the 16th century, one became famous. One of the natural product became famous in the 16th century. Now, what is 16th century? 16th century is the period from 1501 till 1600. During this period, 1501 till 1600, during this period, okay, one product became famous. One of the product became famous during this particular period, that is the 16th century. During this 16th century, one of the product, natural product, became famous. Okay, and what was that product? That product was quinine. That product was quinine, and it was extracted from the bark of the South American cinchona tree. Okay, so quinine was there. This is quinine. Okay, so this quinine was extracted from the bark of a South American tree called as cinchona tree. Okay, cinchona tree. Cinchona, cinchona tree. Okay, so quinine was extracted from the bark of this cinchona tree, and this cinchona tree is a South American tree. Okay, this cinchona tree is a South American tree. It is found in the continent of South America. Okay, you all must be knowing what is the continent of South America. Okay, so continent of South America actually consists of countries such as Brazil, Venezuela, Peru, Bolivia, Argentina, Chile, okay, Uruguay, Paraguay. So all these countries are there in the South American continent. Okay. So quinine was extracted from the bark of a South American tree called a cinchona tree, and it was used to treat fevers resulting from malaria, and used to treat fevers, especially malaria. So in the treatment of malaria, quinine has been used since very long time. And in the 16th century, that is in the period between 1501 to 1600, in this period from 1501 till 1600, during this period, that is during the 16th century, one of the products became very famous, and that was quinine. And quinine was extracted from the bark of South American cinchona tree, and it was used to treat fevers caused by malaria. Okay, the Jesuits who did this work. Okay, now what does the author further want to say? Let me tell you. The Jesuits who did this work. Okay, now what does it mean by Jesuits? Okay, what does it mean by Jesuits? Let me write properly. Jesuits, Jesuits. So what does it mean by Jesuits? Jesuits are the people related to church. Okay, people related to church. Okay, people related to the church, holy church. Those are called as Jesuits. Okay, so it is a kind of religious body. Jesuit is a kind of religious body that involves people from church. Okay, in Christianity, it is specific to Christianity. Okay, this is specific to Christianity. The Jesuits who did this work, which work? The Jesuits who did this work, which work? Extracting quinine from the bark of South American cinchona tree. So extraction of quinine. So the Jesuits who did this work of extraction of quinine, okay, the remedy was known as Jesuits bark. Okay, so they named this remedy extraction of quinine from cinchona tree. They named this remedy as Jesuits bark. Okay, they named this particular remedy as Jesuits bark. What does it mean by bark? Bark means the outer covering of stem. Okay, so every tree has a stem. So this is the stem of the tree. This particular part is the stem of the tree. So in on that stem of the tree. So in that stem of the tree, the outer covering, the outermost covering of that stem of the tree, the outermost covering of that stem of the tree is called as bark. Outermost covering is called as bark. Okay. So in Hindi we call it khal. In Hindi we call that as khal. Okay. So that is the bark of tree. In Hindi it is called as khal. Okay. So remember this. So the Jesuits who did this work of extraction of quinine from cinchona tree, okay, then the remedy was known as Jesuits bark. They did not know the structure of quinine. They did not, of course, know what the structure of quinine was. Did not, of course, know what the structure, because modern science was not in existence during those days. During those days, modern science was not in existence. So this is the structure of quinine. This was established very many years later. This is the structure of quinine. This fact was known many years later. But during those times when Jesuits were doing the extraction of quinine, they did not know the structure of quinine. Okay, did not, of course, know what the structure of quinine was. But now we do. So they did not know. They only knew the use of quinine. And they related it to magic. They did not know about science, so they were talking about black magic and all those rubbish stuffs. Okay, so they were not scientific. The Jesuits were calling it as a remedy, as a magical remedy. They were posing it as if it is a magic. They were not going into the science. They were posing the situation. They were telling the world that this is a magical formula by Jesus Christ. Okay, so that was the thing. So they did not know the structure, but now we do know the structure of quinine. Now we do. This is the structure of quinine. We already know now. Okay. Now, even more than that, the molecular structure of quinine has inspired the design of modern drug molecules, which treat malaria with much more efficiency compared to quinine itself. So, because of the molecular structure of quinine, because of knowing the molecular structure of quinine, some other compounds were created. Other compounds were also created which treat malaria only, and those which were derived from quinine. Other materials which were derived from quinine, they were created in the lab, okay, in the industry. And those materials which were derived from quinine, they were also used for the treatment of malaria. And those artificially synthesized drugs which were derived from quinine, those were even more effective to counter malaria. Okay, so that is the thing which has been written. More than that, the molecular structure of quinine has inspired the design of modern drug molecules. Okay, so modern drug molecules design has been inspired from the molecular structure of quinine, and these artificial drugs treat malaria much more effectively as compared to quinine itself. They treat malaria with much more efficiency as compared to quinine. Okay, so that is the thing. So we have successfully covered this particular paragraph from here till here. We have successfully covered this particular paragraph. Before ending the lecture, I would like you to have a look at this structure. This is the structure of benzene. This is the structure of pyridine. This is the structure of phenol. This is the structure of aniline, and this is the structure of thiophene. I want you to have a look at these structures. I want you to have a look. Okay. So I would like to end the lecture. In the next lecture, we will start from this particular paragraph and we'll learn up to here. Okay, we will start from this paragraph and we will learn up to thiophene. Okay, from the main reservoir to and thiophene up to from the main reservoir up to and thiophene. We will learn up to here in the next class. Thank you very much.